Last week we saw images of the long-awaited LEGO Dungeons & Dragons set, and just a couple of days ago there came the news that in September there would be a dedicated collectible minifigure series of Dungeons & Dragons minifigs. Today we'll break down these rumors and why they are so great for the future of LEGO Fantasy. Let's first look at this very blurry image of a set we got sometime around last week. The most obvious feature is that massive red dragon with cloth wings, spikes, fire, the whole 9 yards. I saw some people debating if this was a dragon or a wyvern, but I think it's very clearly the former. If it were a wyvern, the legs would be positioned much farther back, and as it is, the legs that we can see are in front of the wings, implying another set of legs behind the wings. That, or LEGO has just designed one of the goofiest looking dragons of all time. The dragon is wrapped around a crumbling tower and castle gate, which in turn stands over this tavern. The tavern looks fairly nice. My only regret is that the roof color is so uncharacteristic. A darker and less extravagant color would have been more realistic for D&D. On the right, it looks like there's another smaller tower and a tree. There are two monsters we can see, a beholder and an owlbear. The beholder looks great, and I assume the owlbear will be pretty good, but it's hard to tell from the image that we have. Just getting the owlbear, though, is really amazing because this wasn't in the original ideas submission, and I think it's a great way to get a classic D&D monster. There's also this black thingy on the wall. I'm not sure what it is, but it might be another monster. The figures are also superb. We can see a dragonborn exiting the tavern, some white-haired characters speaking with the owlbear, what might be a rogue over by the beholder, a swordsman of some sort, maybe another figure interacting with the swordsman, and an armored character on the small tower facing down the dragon. Last but not least, an evil sorcerer overlooks the scene from the top of the tower. The big tree out front looks great, but there are some smaller scrawny trees that try to use that new fern piece, and I'm pretty unsure if it works here. There's also these flags, which might be the colors associated with the heraldry of the armored figure. If this set gives us a new faction, that would be incredible. Other than color swapping the dragon and the tavern roof, this set lines up fairly well with the original ideas submission. 6, maybe 7 characters is what the ideas set had as well, and the beholder is still present also. I'm really itching to get a back view of this set, since the ideas submission had a big dungeon layout back there. At $360, this set is very expensive, even for a respectable 3,745 pieces. Hopefully the set goes on sale in the fall, or LEGO runs a really good promotion when it launches sometime this April. Overall though, this is an excellent set, and I'm so happy to see it's coming. But that's only half the news. The other half is that Dungeons & Dragons will be getting a dedicated series of collectible minifigures in September of this year. Now, we don't have images for the CMF series yet, but we do have pretty detailed descriptions. To begin with, there seems to be 5 named characters from established D&D lore and 7 unnamed player characters. Like every recent CMF series, they will be $5 each in America, and will almost certainly come in boxes. Lastly, we're told that almost all the torsos and legs have no skin showing, so they're usable regardless of whether you make your armies yellow-skinned or flesh-toned. First, we have the Dwarf Barbarian. D&D dwarves are heavily inspired off of Lord of the Rings dwarves with big beards and an affinity for axes. This figure comes with a double-headed axe and a torch, and the axe head is going to be a new mold. This is extremely exciting, and it could be what LEGO uses for future renditions of Gimli's double-headed axe in Lord of the Rings. Lastly, the Dwarf Barbarian comes with 2 faces, one male and one female, although it's unclear if this means 2 separate heads or a double-sided head with a male side and a female side. Next is a Githyanki Warlock. Githyanki are humanoid, but possess low-level psionic and telekinetic abilities as a result of the malign influence of mind flayers on their ancestors. They possess some traits of snakes, such as flat noses and pointed teeth, and they lay eggs to reproduce. In this case, the minifig we're getting is a warlock with pointy ears, a staff with an eye on it, and a newly designed knife piece. And continuing with the trend, male and female faces are included. The third figure is an orange tiefling, which are humans who share a bloodline with a fiend or demon of some kind. They typically have horns protruding from their heads and possess some magical abilities. LEGO's tiefling is a sorcerer who will come with the dragon familiar, which I thought might be the one used for Norbert in the new Hagrid's Hut, but apparently will be a new mold, as well as some trans-pink energy bolts. We can also expect a new hairpiece with those horns on it, as well as printed arms. The next figure is one that I think will be the best and most sought-after figure from the whole series, and that's the Dragonborn Paladin. Dragonborn in D&D, unlike in Skyrim, are humanoid creatures with scaly skin and a dragon's head. They lack the tail and wings of a dragon, but they often have a breath weapon associated with the kind of Dragonborn that they are. This Dragonborn is a gold dragon, whose breath weapon is fire. The minifigure as a paladin will have a shield and a new mace, and his head will be the same mold as the video dragons. The biggest draw for this minifig will undoubtedly be the new armor. It's said to be styled, quote, like the Ninjago Master of the Mountain Pauldron, but on both sides and a full chest piece. This is totally transformative. The trusty old chest piece is great, but it can't go very well with this shoulder armor. There's always a gap which can be reduced by bending the plastic, but most people aren't willing to do that. There's also the method of filling that gap with a cape, but that doesn't solve the underlying problem that the minifig's neck looks unnaturally elongated by this setup. This new piece could solve that by combining the chest plate and armor into one element. I cannot emphasize enough how massive of a change this would be for army builders, mock builders, or anyone that wants to detail their knights as finely as possible. Then we get a halfling druid. Halflings in D&D are just hobbits, short, hairy-footed, and jovial. The interesting part here is the druid class. We'll be getting a new hood piece with antlers attached, as well as a fancy cape, a staff, and a bird. I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. Then we have a white Aarakocra ranger. I had to look this up, but Aarakocra are bird people with wings and an avian head, exactly like the eagles or ravens from Lego Chima. This one will have a new mold for the wings though, as well as the head, and will come with specialized fawn legs similar to those on the Harpy from the CMF Series 25. It will also come with a bow and a small dog as a companion. The last unnamed character is actually a half-elf bard. Half-elves are descended from both human and elvish parents and bear the traits of both races. The figure will come with a lute and new hair, which presumably will have elf ears. Also included will be a sword and a scarf, and again, 2 possible faces for male and female characters. This one seems a lot less interesting than some others, but it's still a great idea. Now the last 5 characters are characters that are named in the D&D lore. Here, others may have to correct me because I've never played a campaign featuring these characters, nor am I an expert in the general lore. The first one is a Mind Flayer, a Lovecraftian horror that essentially eats brains and inflicts psychological trauma on its victims. They're typically very challenging monsters to fight, who use manipulative spells to cripple enemies. We don't know very much about the Lego fig, except that it will have a unique head mold, and that it will have as a companion an intellect devourer, which is this little cute guy. Next we have Count Strahd von Zarovich, a vampire lord. He controls the Valley of Barovia, and that's pretty much it. He's a vampire. His figure comes with a sword, goblet, red-eyed rat, and a special cape. This may seem a bit underwhelming, but I expect this fig will pair perfectly with the Fright Night CMF from this January. Very excited to pick this one up. The third named character is the Lady of Pain. Despite the ominous name, the Lady of Pain is not a villain or enemy. She rules over the city of Sigil, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and seeks to maintain balance, but while she possesses wildly powerful magic abilities, she does not seem to use these except in self-defense or in defense of the city. The minifigure will come with a cube of some lore relevance, a fancy cape, and a special mold for her headpiece. Next, there's Sass Tam, a powerful lich who seems to have a long backstory and lore. My understanding is that the bad guys in the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie are largely based on him, or are cult worshippers of his. He'll come with a trans red skull, an energy blast, and a dark red cape. And lastly, we have Tasha the Witch Queen, a vain and selfish but incredibly powerful spellcaster. She's basically the compendium of every stereotypical fantasy witch. The minifigure will feature the hat-hair combo from the recent Hocus Pocus set, and have a book and a cauldron. I honestly think I won't be trying to guess which figs are in any random box for this one, because they're all so good. I would be happy opening any of these figures. They all bring excellent things to the table, and in some cases star entirely new races of characters. Most other CMF series have 1, maybe 2 desirable minifigures, at least for the average castle or fantasy fan. But this is one where I genuinely want to collect the whole set, and it won't feel like a waste. It probably won't appeal to everyone, but LEGO will sure get a lot of my money this fall. Overall, Dungeons & Dragons is an excellent theme for LEGO fantasy fans like myself. I genuinely want to play a campaign using these characters as figurines. The big set has a lot of great things going for it, and the CMF series is the perfect complement to it. If this is a financial success for LEGO, they may consider branching out into a full theme of sets, and who knows where that could go. It's definitely an exciting time to be a LEGO fan. I hope you enjoyed this somewhat longer video, and until next time, have a great day.